and a very warm welcome to the 9th in a series of vlogs called Good News. Thanks so much for joining me. My name is Simon Potter and I'm the Associate Vicar of St Mary's Church in Stoke Bishop in the city of Bristol. And in this series we've been searching out specific good news stories. In a news landscape which is so often dominated by bad news at the moment, we've been asking ourselves, does the Bible and does the Christian faith have anything to say of encouragement that may be able to help and guide us through these difficult months? Today's topic that we're looking at is specifically about exhaustion and the burdens of life. We're going to be seeing together that although they are clear and present dangers for us in this season, that the Bible offers us the hope and the support of Jesus Christ, who walks alongside us, who offers us guidance and direction, who helps us to set the pace, and who supports us in the difficulties that we face. So let's take a look at some of those things together now. So firstly, some context, which reveals that burdens and exhaustion in particular are something that are being experienced by a great many people across the nation at this current time. In the month of May, a leading UK leadership consultancy polled its affiliates to ask them to describe their experiences of the first 6 weeks of lockdown. And as the replies came in, several key words jumped out, and two of those main key words were the words energised and inspired. It seemed in those early days of lockdown that people were experiencing the novelty of doing life and thinking about life and business in new ways. They were experiencing the energy of shared community where many were experiencing similar things at similar times. And there was a whole new rhythm to what life looked like. The same organisation polled its affiliates in the month of June. And at that point, the words that best described their experiences were frustrated and exhausted and inadequate. And in many ways, many of us might be able to sympathise with those changes in the words used. As I record this, many of our businesses and shops are seeking to reopen. And the burdens of not being able to trade during lockdown are now being transferred to the burdens of how to reopen safely and successfully. Unfortunately, for many businesses, they know the burdens of not being able to reopen, either because the rules that are now in place make business not viable for them, or perhaps because they've ceased to trade during the period of lockdown, the burden of potential unemployment and redundancy being passed to their employees. Schools are gradually reopening, and so for many parents who have been homeschooling and schools that have been seeking to provide resources, the exhaustion and the burden of that experience is now passing to the exhaustion and the burden of working out how to do school safely in the weeks and months ahead. People and businesses across our city, across our nation and across the world are needing to come to terms with what it looks like to change the way that we do life and business for the second time in 5 months, and to learn lessons quickly and to evolve successfully and at pace as well. Some people are still shielding and experiencing the exhaustion of what it looks like to be entering a 5th month in lockdown. And everyone, it seems, is in need of a genuine holiday. One of my friends who works for a seaside hotel has reported that they are fully booked between now and Christmas. It seems that we're looking for some good news in this area of exhaustion. So let's have a look at what the Bible might say to us. When reflecting on this whole issue of exhaustion, I've been reminded of some words of Jesus in Matthew chapter 11. Let me read them for us now. They're taken from verse 28 onwards. Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." It strikes me that there are two principal things going on here. One is a person, and the second is the provision that they make. Firstly, the person. Jesus says, "Come to me." Specifically, come to me if you are weary and burdened. And so for those of us experiencing exhaustion of any kind at the moment, Jesus says, "Come to me." He doesn't, interestingly, point us in the direction of someone else, perhaps something that they're trying, a new idea. He doesn't point us in the direction of some new resource that we might like to try, or even a helpful internet site. Jesus doesn't point us anywhere other than himself. He says, "Come to me." Come and spend some time with me. Perhaps find a quiet place and a quiet chair in the house and sit down and be aware of my presence with you. Perhaps Jesus invites us to read his words recorded for us in the Bible. Perhaps to pray to him, being aware of his presence with us. But fundamentally, Jesus says, however you do it and however you go about it, whether it's in silence or whether it's in reading or whether it's in prayer, fundamentally, come to me. Secondly, Jesus provides for us. God has always been providing for his people, and Jesus provides for those who come to him. He provides rest in all its fullness. He provides rest in spirit and in mind and in body. That as we pray, as we meditate on his words in the Bible, as we share quiet, perhaps in the company of other people, we realise that he provides rest, and he also provides direction and pace and support. I'm not an expert in the farming practices of the first century, but as I understand it, often older and stronger and experienced cattle were yoked together with younger and weaker and inexperienced cattle. It meant that those older cattle could set an example from which the younger cattle could learn. They could set the direction and the pace, and when the weaker cattle struggled, they could provide support. Jesus, in that passage from Matthew, said, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." Often I can be guilty of trying to set my own pace in life and perhaps running ahead of where God would have me be. Often I can try to rely on my own wits to answer questions that are perplexing me, or to rely and lean too heavily on my own resources, and frequently I am quickly exhausted. Jesus invites anyone who is exhausted and burdened and weary to come to him. Perhaps in this season of exhaustion and burden at this current time, that might be something that we could all benefit from. If you would like any help in what it looks like precisely to be still and quiet with Jesus, perhaps to be able to pray to him or to read his word, then please do get in contact with one of the staff team at St Mary's. Our website and our email address are www.stmarysb.org.uk. We'd really love to continue the conversation with you. Wherever you are today, may God bless you richly.